It could be. Yeah, where would you put it? Well, where would you show the evidence of that you've been safe, or you've shown an awareness of health and safety? You have to present evidence that you've done that. So where can we do that? In the work that you send to the examiner, they need to be able to see evidence that you've looked at health and safety. How are you going to show that? Picture of you. So in your photo diary, right? There's going to be you goggled up. Okay. Yeah, that could be one. That could be one way. Where else could we include it? Defo. Yeah, because listen, you're going to be saying. Yeah, you could. Yeah, it might be that you could get wood in your eye. Okay, somehow does happen, doesn't it? Alrighty then. So, moving away from wood just for a second, and moving on to machining on the lathe. So you've got to turn that thing on the lathe. So, for example, before you do any operation on it, you have to lower the guard. So on your flow chart, it's going to say lower the guard. Some of you may choose to colour code those aspects of your flow chart and have a key on here that says health and safety, yellow, or whatever. Suddenly you're then ticking that box and you're doing what you're evidencing. You're evidencing what you need to. Right. Is that the final? Was that the final one, Daniel? Okay, cool. Right. Next boy. Sorry. What is your name?
Will.
Will. Please, can you start the testing bit? Brilliant. Thank you.
Describe and justify a range of tests carried out to check the performance or quality of the product.
Right. So you're going to have testing. Okay? Now, the key word there was range of tests. Now, what you need to try and dream up is 4 different tests that you can do with this. So, you've got a torch. You've got a torch. Okay? Vince, where would you test it?
In the dark.
Okay. So you're going to test it in the dark, right? How would you show that you've tested it in the? What would you? Okay. So dark picture. Okay. In the past, actually, what some people have done is, the things. Some of you may have been to the optician, have your eyes tested. So they've printed off a copy of one of those lettery things, and they've had it a distance, and they've shone their torch at it to see if they could pick out the letters. So they've done a kind of measurable test of what the actual light beam was like. Yeah? That's one test. You have to do a range of tests. What else are you going to do? Okay. So, we've had durability. Okay. So some people, for example, have dropped it not necessarily onto a hard surface, but they've thought about the fact that maybe they're going to be having it, in a camping situation. And actually, some people have made these things for D&E kind of trips, and they've said, serious. Well, it's more because actually they kind of have to give a reason why they're making it. So, anyway. As a result, they've kind of tested it in context, and they've taken it camping, and they've dropped it on grassy surfaces and stuff, and then checked that it's worked. So you could do that. Other people have kind of modelled the idea of rain, and they've taken it in the shower with them. Okay, and then there's a photograph of them in the shower with the torch. Okay, not naked pictures, just more a hand. More a hand. Okay. Oh, I see. What, like wearing clothes in the shower? No. No, you don't need to do that. Yeah, I mean, a sort of slightly more practical version would be like you in, swimming trunks in the shower with, but no, we don't need to do that. We don't need to have body shots. Okay? Right. So durability, water. Okay. Right, let's keep it decent and keep it clean here. Okay. So, those are sort of 2 or 3 tests we've got there. Let's just carry on reading a little bit further. Will, carry on reading.
Relevant measurable points of the design brief are objectively referenced.
Okay. Have we produced a design brief yet? No. So this works kind of irritatingly backwards in the same way that other section did. Suddenly, you get to the end of the mark scheme and they've said, well, you need the brief because you need to... So you're going to have, Ellie, and this is where your D of E comes in, you need to have, exactly the same for your design section, you've got to have your brief, and then you've got to have your criteria. Right? Now, within that, obviously we've had in the past such things as I'm going on this D of E exhibition, or I'm going to this music festival, or I ride a moped from, I don't know, somewhere obscure in Norfolk to Norwich, and I sometimes break down. No. It was breakdown situations. That's right. Perfect. Yeah, okay. I'm not really sure why you need a torch in your shower, but... Right, anyway, the only other thing that I would add on, your criteria, obviously is going to be, your criteria is going to be specific. You're going to be saying such things as, we'll need to project a light beam, 3 metres, needs to be able to light up, whatever, needs to be able to be weather resistant, i.e. the water, needs to be a maximum weight of whatever. So the key aspect to that is measurable. So you need to have points that are measurable. And I think it says that in that line. Will, read that line again for me.
Relevant measurable points of the design brief are objectively referenced.
If you've got sort of wishy-washy, it's got to look good type points, that's not measurable. Okay? If you've said the torch must be no bigger than, the torch must weigh no more than, the torch must light up 3 metres, then you can stick one of those optician's things 3 metres away in the dark and you can see if it lights it up. That is measurable and you are able to test that. If you haven't got measurable points in your design specification or your criteria, then you're going to struggle to do that. Okay, Fergus?
How far are the torches?
I can't remember actually. Yeah, I think it's probably longer than 3 metres. Yeah? Yeah, longer than 3 metres. Probably be all right from here to. That's probably about 5 metres to that wall. 4 metres, 4.5 metres. No, it's not. This one hasn't. Well, it's got batteries in, but. Indeed not. Indeed not. But it's finished though. Okay. So. Right. Final line. Boy in blue shirt. What's your name?
James.
James. What's the final line, James?
Third-party testing is used.
Right. So, another test that you've got to have is a third-party test, right? Where you maybe show the criteria that you've come up with to a person you know, even a friend possibly, okay? And then you get their opinion on it, okay? Or you get them to test it in the dark, thus using a third party. But if you haven't referenced a third party within your testing section, then obviously you can't get your hands on those marks. Right? Okay. So, I think I've covered everything in there. Let's just check those on these sheets here. Right? Just look at the making section, and let's see if we've got every sheet that we need. Alistair. Please look at the making section on the A3 sheet. That's it. Okay, so your top right-hand corner. Okay. What have I suggested for page 1? Does it say it in the list? Can you read it?
The design brief and design criteria.
Okay. Does it say anything else? It just says page 1, design brief, design criteria.
Outline the problem and list the things the problem to
Okay? And we know why, because it has to fit in with that, yeah? Okay, second page.
Orthographic drawing, so engineering drawing from a third angle product.
Okay? For this, I'm going to give you the drawing. You don't have to do it. Okay? Because you're not having to design this. There's no marks in the design of it. Okay? The marks are in you actually being able to produce it. So I will give you the drawing. I've done it already. Okay? Yeah, carry on.
The photo diary, which shows all stages of manufacture.
Okay? So we know that we have to have a photo diary because Fergus talked about the idea of having a picture of him wearing PPE. But also, you obviously need to show all of the processes in that. Okay? Personal protective equipment. Right, carry on, Alistair.
The Gantt charts, which will
The Gantt chart.
time plan.
Yeah, so we talked about having a time plan per hour. Yeah, next.
Production plan, for example, production of flow chart with correct signals, quality control checks and safety.
We've discussed that, right?
Photo diary, including specific materials and reasons for choice.
Yeah. Okay, so we talked about materials and justification for choice, right? Next.
Testing, recording or documenting range of tests, user group measure against orthographic and check against criteria.
Okay, so yeah, that's actually another test that we didn't talk about. You could check back at your orthographic drawing, the one that I give you. You could show pictures of this with like a vernier or a ruler against it, and that would be a testing your dimensions of the product you made against your original intention, which was the orthographic drawing. That's another test. Okay, that's quite a simple test to do. Right. Okay, is that the whole thing? Or is
Just the evaluation, so careful reflection of the test and possible modifications.
Yeah. Okay, so that's going to be within your testing section. Yeah? Right. That, ladies and gents, brings us to the end of your designing and making section.